So, what are some of the common herbs? You mentioned a couple, and I know you mentioned marshmallow. I see slippery elm used a ton, and I
Mhm.
know there's pros and cons to that. And so I think, what would be your top 3 herbs that you like using to support the gut microbiome that isn't just necessarily treating a symptom? And then also touch on why you chose them and how it relates to the environment, because I know that's a big part of herbal
Sure,
medicine.
absolutely. Again, it's important to understand that we're trying to stimulate things, and we don't have a crystal ball to work with. So basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to replace the diversity that a wild animal would collect from nature intuitively for the animals in our home. So it's not about this herb for that. It's about supporting what's already there. And at the top of the list of what herbs can do very well, in addition to good diets like at the center of everything, and a diet that's rich in probiotic bacteria, bacillus and acidophilus and everything else is important. But keeping in mind that there's like thousands and thousands of different microbes in the gut of a dog or a person or anything else. We're only dealing with a few when we give probiotics. So in the herbal realm, what can we do to support what's already there? We can feed prebiotics. And these are herbs that contain constituents that basically do not break down in digestion like most foods do. They stay there and they ferment and they feed the beneficial bacteria in the gut so they can reproduce and fight the bad guys off. And at the top of the list there would be like chicory root or Jerusalem artichoke is another good choice, dandelion root. And the cool thing about dandelion root and chicory is they not only help feed beneficial bacteria in the gut by virtue of the inulin that they have. It's a constituent that I'm actually describing here of those plants. Is they also support and stimulate liver function on a very mild level too. So it improves the body's ability to digest food. The liver is very important at producing enzymes and various acids and various other chemicals that are not only critical to the breakdown of food, but also the transport of food across blood barriers to nourish the rest of the body. So those herbs actually support the body. My favorite is probably dandelion because it goes to the core of a lot of issues. If we see chronic constipation in the scenario, then usually most holistic herbalists will say, well, let's look at the liver. Something's not functioning right. The body's unable to digest this. Do we have enough of the right bacteria going in, probiotics going in? Do we need to use a digestive enzyme that will help break down various food components, et cetera? But we're going to look beyond the symptoms and into the liver and the causative factors and support the body in what it is designed to do, but help it do it better. Herbs to me, I'm a tonic herbalist. I don't believe in replacing an herb with, replacing an allopathic over-the-counter or prescription drug with an herb just for the sake of having a safer alternative. Um, I believe in strengthening the body and what it's naturally designed to do, and I believe that the best things that herbs have to offer is right along that line of reasoning. Is all we're doing is supporting the body with what it's naturally designed to do. Slippery elm's another great example of what herbs can do beyond medicine. Slippery elm, we use the inner bark of the slippery elm tree, and it's got a lot of the same mucopolysaccharides, the slippery, oily mucilage components that, say, marshmallow would, but it also contains enough tannins, tannic acid, which is very astringent, so it has multiple properties in the gut. It feeds the microbiome, it feeds the beneficial bacteria, but because of that mucilage, it has a lubricating, soothing factor, and because of the tannin constituents, it has a constricting factor well. So that herb is used equally as well against cases that involve diarrhea as well as constipation, because that while it's still lubricating things through, that tannin constituent is actually constricting mucosa enough to block the entrance of some fluid into the digestive tract, and it will help relieve, you know, diarrhea too. So it's kind of a one size fits all in that respect, while giving nourishment to the microflora at the same time. It's one of my favorites for sure. Plantain leaf, not the stuff that looks like bananas, but the little weed, Plantago species, has a lot of the same components in the leaf and in the root as well. And I've seen wild animals chewing on that many times. It's not a forage plant, but it's something that they will walk by and in a time of need, take a nibble or two if their gut requires it.
Those are great. And yeah, I've used those with all of my patients too, and they work amazing. And so, is it something where for pet parents, they're probably thinking, whoa, I really want to add those into my dog's diet now?
GMOs are becoming an increasingly important element of our human and pet food supplies. What does this mean for your dog? Is it safe to feed genetically modified foods to dogs? Find out the answer in the next video.